أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد وانتشت روحي وصار الدمع.
The author of Tahawi then says, Al-Hawd, the fountain which Allah will grant the Prophet ﷺ as an honor to quench the thirst of his nation, is factual.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. The author here started to speak about what some of the incidents that will take place at the day of resurrection. And this maybe the reason behind this is the fact that the author started to speak about Allah Jalla wa Ala first, and then he started to speak about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and what Allah Jalla wa Ala gave to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he started to speak about Al-Quran, that as Al-Quran is the most important thing in our life. And then the author started to speak about the day of resurrection, because you know that Allah Jalla wa Ala always says من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر لمن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر, as well as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to combine between iman billah and believing in the day of judgment. So that might be a reason for that. Another reason might be is the fact that the author wanted to mention the qualities that Allah Jalla wa Ala given specifically to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, and what he honored his Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with. So he mentioned the story of Al-Mi'raj, which was specific to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, followed by another quality that Allah Jalla wa Ala honored Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with, which is Al-Hawd. Al-Hawd, as you know, some scholars, or maybe a good translation for it is to say the fountain, or maybe the pond, or some people say, translated as what?
Cistern.
The cistern as well. So I think the meaning is clear. Maybe the only preservation with the fountain is the fountain normally has a fountain in the middle. It's not just a pond with no fountain in the middle. Allahu Alam about the best translation. We have seen different ways to translate it. But Al-Hawd is like a big pond, and the Prophet ﷺ said it's wide as the width between Sana'a and Ayla. You know, Ayla is north of the peninsula in the side of Al-Iraq and Al-Sham, and Sana'a is in Al-Yemen. So the width of that pond or that cistern as wide as that distance, thousands of miles. And the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever drinks from that hawd, he will never be thirsty. The scholars said that Allah Jalla wa Ala will resurrect people from their graves. And once they are resurrected, they will be gathered together on the plane of reckoning, of resurrection. So Ard al-Mahshar, the resurrection plane. And there they will be waiting thousands of years before Allah Jalla wa Ala starts the accountability. Now, when they are waiting, two things will happen. The believers will go and ask the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the believers will go to drink from that cistern. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be standing next to that cistern and will prevent those people who innovated something after the death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. the rest of believers will drink from the water of that cistern. And then after that, the people will ask the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to intercede, so the reckoning and the accountability starts. So this is the order of the incidents that will take place during the day of resurrection. People will come out from their graves, they will be resurrected to Ard al-Mahshar, to the resurrection plain, and they will be waiting there, and then they will go to the Hawd, the fountain, to drink from the Hawd. And then the Prophet ﷺ will stop some of them, and then the Prophet ﷺ will go to Allah Jalla wa Ala and will intercede. So the process of accountability starts, and there will be some steps during that process. Then after that, the people will go through the balance. The people will have their deeds balanced, and then after that, the people will go through the bridge, and the Prophet ﷺ will be standing next to the bridge saying, Allahumma sallim, Allahumma sallim. After the bridge, as you know, the believers will pass that bridge very quickly. After the bridge, there will be another plane, and in that plane, only believers who are going to be admitted to paradise will sit for some time. In that plane, the mazalim that used to take place in the dunya will be judged between them. So if there is any kind of injustice that took place, the rights of others will be given to them, and so on in that plane. And then after that, once they are purified, and Allah Jalla wa Ala removes any kind of enmity from the hearts of believers who will be going to paradise immediately after that, Allah Jalla wa Ala takes them to paradise. So this is the order of the main incidents that will take place during the day of judgment. Now, why Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned those incidents that will take place? Why did the Prophet ﷺ explain some of those incidents? For example, you know, there are, as some scholars said, that there are many ahadith that have been reported to describe the fountain or that cistern that belongs to the Prophet ﷺ. They said, why there are that many ahadith that can be confirmed as a mutawatir ahadith reported by more than 30 companions, and many scholars have written books about that fountain or pond. Why is that? They said that once the person reads those ahadith and he reflects upon what is happening at the day of resurrection, and what is happening, that the people will be very thirsty and they will be looking for any kind of water to drink, and they won't be able to drink except from the hawd of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will prevent some people from it. Then the person will be keen to drink from the hawd of the Prophet ﷺ, and he will not innovate anything, and he will try his best to be among the people whom the Prophet ﷺ will be pleased with, and whom the Prophet ﷺ will allow them to drink from the hawd. And this kind of, you can say, visualizing the incidents that will take place during the day of resurrection will help the person to strengthen his belief of the day of resurrection, and he will be aware of what is happening, and he will be very keen in order to discipline himself and in a way that pleases Allah Jalla wa Ala. So those incidents will pass by very easily. This is one of the main fundamental reasons for mentioning those incidents in details in number of ahadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In brief, we can conclude that the fountain or this pond or cistern can be described as follows. It is a very huge one. Its water will come from the river of abundance, from Al-Kawthar, and you know the hadith that was reported by Imam Ahmad when the Prophet ﷺ dozed for some time, and then he woke up, or he sat, and then he said that I received, or it was revealed upon me, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar fasalli li rabbika wanhar inna shani'aka huwa al-abtar. And then he described al-kawthar, and he said al-kawthar is the river of abundance. That is one of the particulars of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he said that the around al-kawthar, or around the fountain, is cups as many as the stars of the sky, that many. After that, the Prophet ﷺ said that people and his ummah will come to drink from Al-Kawthar, and some people will be kept away from drinking from the fountain. So the Prophet ﷺ will ask the angels, this is my ummah, why they are kept away from Al-Kawthar? And then it will be said to the Prophet ﷺ, you don't know what they have innovated after you. Then the Prophet ﷺ will say, suhqan, suhqan, means get away or keep them away from my fountain or my pond. So these are the basic things about Al-Kawthar, or about the fountain, about Al-Hawd. So the Prophet ﷺ confirmed that Al-Hawd is there. We have to believe in it. We have to think about it. And when we conduct ourselves, we should ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to be among the people who will be drinking from Al-Hawd of the Prophet ﷺ in a way that we will drink and we will not feel thirsty after that. Okay, inshallah, we will move to the next point.
The author, At-Tahawi, then mentions Ash-Shafa'ah, intercession, that has been prepared on their behalf is also a fact, as has been reported in the Ahadith.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. The author here started to speak about the intercession. First of all, as you know, intercession means to mediate between someone and someone else, or to intercede between someone or on behalf of someone before someone else, to mediate between both people. This is the general meaning of intercession. Now, intercession is of two types. The first type is the intercession that takes place, or that will take place, in the hereafter, at the day of resurrection in particular, and what happens after that. And the second type of intercession is the intercession related to matters in this dunya. As far as the first type, which is the intercession that will take place in the hereafter, you know, the first type of that intercession, as you know, that it has different types. The first type is the greatest intercession, which is exclusive to the Prophet ﷺ. And some scholars said that this type of intercession has been reported in number of ahadith that can be seen as a mutawatir ahadith. And there are very wonderful ahadith that explain this intercession. Basically, this intercession, which is exclusive to the Prophet ﷺ, has been reported, like in hadith Anas ibn Malik, when Thabit al-Bunnani came. Thabit al-Bunnani is one of the second generation scholars, and he is one of the students of Anas ibn Malik. And as you know, Anas ibn Malik lived for a long time. So some companions of Thabit al-Bunnani came and asked Thabit al-Bunnani to go and to ask Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, about a number of ahadith. And they said, we want you to ask him about the hadith of intercession. This should be the first hadith you ask him about. So Anas ibn Malik started to narrate this hadith that when Allah Jalla wa Ala resurrects people from their graves and they will be gathered in the resurrection plane, then they will be waiting after a long time, thousands of years, while they will be waiting under the sun, and the sun will come very close to them until it will be as height as 1 mile only from our heads on that time.